make sure we're live here. Once I officially see we're live, I will start. There we go. Hello and welcome back to Chiefsman's Corner Live. This week is special as we finally get to just about lock down our playoff picture and I can make some very bad WFL Bowl 2 predictions. I am your host, one of the leadership team of the WFL, Coach Winuvas of the Seattle Seahawks. Our game plan tonight is to talk our housekeeping notes like we usually do, and then dive into our playoff race. We won't have any players of the podcast this week, but we will end our show with our Ask the Chief segment again as always. And we do have a special announcement to make on this podcast as well. If you're watching this live or recorded, thank you. We appreciate any and all support. Without good owners, the WFL doesn't exist. The first thing I want to talk about tonight is the WFL's incentive plan, as I always do. With the offseason soon on the horizon, this plan allows you to get some perks that aren't available for every member simply by doing some extracurricular activities that involve WFL. Anything from Twitter to articles on the Neon Sports site to commenting or participating in this show. Anything that makes WFL a more immersive experience and increases its presence in the Madden community earns you some sort of credit. There is now a video on our league YouTube page detailing the incentive plan. If you would like a link to the incentive plan, however, it is available using the command /incentive plan in Discord. That is /incentive plan in Discord, all one word. Find out about how you can contribute and begin today. The second thing to talk about is our Ask the Chief form. Use this form during the week between episodes to submit any questions you have for me, and I will answer them during the show, giving you credit for the question. Easy way to build up incentive points and provide extra content for the podcast. Use the command /AskTheChief to pull up the form in Discord. That is /AskTheChief, all one word, to pull up the form in Discord. I'd also ask again for some help in recruiting new owners to the league. I know that Madden has had its faults, and we are coming up on a draft here and an off-season coming up, and there have been lots of issues with other leagues having draft glitch issues. But hopefully we can fill out our 4 remaining opening spots before the regular season ends, or at the very least before we start the next season. I'll do what I can. Please do what you can to help as well. It will also mean incentive points. With us officially in playoff discussion, especially tonight, it's time to start thinking about the WFL Associated Press. They are actually hard at work right now looking at players to pick to award attribute points to in the following categories: MVP, Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year, Offensive and Defensive Rookies of the Year, and our very own WFL All-Pro team for the NFC and AFC. These awards supersede the ones given by Madden and are awarded by owners who are members of the WFL AP. The forms have been made, and they are just waiting the end of season reports to go ahead and be checked out. So guys can make those award nominations. Hopefully your players make the list. With us well on the back end of the season, it's time to get that WFL survey rolling. To those that have answered the survey already, thank you very much for your feedback. You should have heard from me via DM if you completed a survey. If you have not, please DM me after the show and we can discuss your survey. The survey is available using the command /WFL survey. It is all one word, /WFL survey. WFL uses the survey to gauge potential improvements to the CFM, including rules changes, modifications, and general process improvements. We can also use it to gauge how leadership as a whole is doing. I want to stress that only one person, myself, reads these surveys. I speak to every participating survey member one-on-one via DM about their feedback, no matter what. If you want to voice discontent with anyone or everyone in WFL, this is your time to do it and be heard. I take this very seriously. Without good owners, we do not have a good league. I strive to make the WFL a destination league for PS5 users, so anything less than that means we have work to do to improve. Anything that we can do to improve is reasonable. We will look to tinker with moving into Season 3. We already have had some good feedback and ideas, one of which we are implementing for this season in the Associated Press. More news on that incoming, and we want to hear more. With housekeeping out of the way, let's look at our playoff picture to Season 2. There are no players of the podcast this week. Sorry, guys. We are moving into the playoffs. Ooh. That wasn't supposed to be there. That's supposed to be there. All right. And I accidentally hit a different button. There we go. The wonders of a live broadcast. Okay, so now we have our playoff picture, and it is still murky even at this point. We do have a couple of lockdowns in the AFC. Cleveland, Buffalo, Houston is locked down as the 3 seed. KC is locked down as the 4 seed. Your division champs are pretty well locked in. Where it varies is your seeding for the wild cards. 5, 6, and 7 seeds. Currently, they belong to Jacksonville in the 5 spot. We have Indy in the 6th spot and the Jets in the 7th spot, rounding out R7 in the AFC. In the NFC, it's a little murkier, mainly because with the loss of the Seattle Seahawks, I'm out of playoff contention now. The Rams are going to be in the 4th spot here. So it's Tampa Bay 1 at this point, Green Bay 2, Giants 3. The Rams are 4, the Vikings are 5, the Panthers are 6th. And either Philadelphia or Washington is the 7th seed. It is not going to be the Chicago Bears. They have been bumped out by the wins of Philadelphia and Washington. I am not sure who the 7th seed honestly is, and I won't know until we jump into the wild card round. So, with that being said, I'm going to play as if I'm going to predict both of them, and we'll see what happens in the NFC. In the AFC, though, the 1 seed, the Browns, are going to be on a bye. So, it's going to be Buffalo versus the New York Jets. So it's going to be a rematch potentially of some division foes, and I think Buffalo takes that one, if you want to know the gospel truth on that one. So Buffalo wins and advances. I think Houston versus the Colts is interesting, so another divisional matchup coming in there. And I think that maybe Juke might get the upper hand in this one, although he did lose his Week 18 game, so maybe he's coming in a little bit cold, so maybe the Texans can surprise him. If any upset happens in the AFC, I think in Wild Card Weekend, I think it happens between 3 and 5. I think Houston will go down to the Indianapolis Colts. In the 4-5 matchup, you have the Chiefs and the Jaguars. The Jaguars are looking mighty fine with 2 wins to round out the season. New owner. New momentum. He will be short a couple of players for his first playoff game, but he looks to overcome over the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are a tough customer, though. Jacksonville will have to bring everything and then some to get the job done. I think I'm going to give the edge to the veteran of WFL over the rookie. No offense to the Jaguars there, but I think I will give the edge to Kansas City. So that leaves me with Buffalo, Kansas City, and Indy moving on. Indy is the 6th seed, so they would face off against the Cleveland Browns. Buffalo would face off against Kansas City. I think Cleveland probably wins that game. I think it's going to be a nice running game style matchup. I think Nick Chubb versus Jonathan Taylor is a really nice setup. I feel like Chubb would have the edge there, even though it is a newish owner to us in Cleveland. I feel like he'll have the edge going in there, and I feel like Cleveland will make it through to the conference championship, and meeting them will be the Buffalo Bills in a real-life rematch of NFL versus Buffalo and Kansas City. I feel like Buffalo's got the edge there with personnel, with weapons, with skill. I think Buffalo's got the edge, so I think it's going to be Cleveland and Buffalo in the AFC Championship game, and I'm going to give the edge to the Buffalo Bills there. I think even though it will be home at Cleveland, their weather will not be as huge a factor as normal because Buffalo's used to cold weather. I think Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson is. I don't see Cleveland being able to counter the power offense that Buffalo brings to the table. So I predict the Buffalo Bills to come out of the AFC and represent the AFC in WFL Bowl 2 here in Madden 23. From the NFC side, Tampa Bay is going to get the bye. That means Green Bay is going to face off against the 7 seed. And I'm going to predict that whoever he meets, whether it's Philadelphia or Washington, I think it's going to be closer than people expect. But I'm predicting an upset. I think the 7 seed Philadelphia or Washington can beat Green Bay at Green Bay, which would be huge and knock out the defending champion Meat Boy. The Giants will face off against the 6 seed, which is the Carolina Panthers. I think Clyde is just too sharp and too good at not making mistakes to warrant losing a game here to Carolina. Not to take away from Carolina's wonderful season. In any other division, just about, they'd probably be winning a division, but unfortunately they're a wild card with 12 wins. I think their dream season ends here in New York with a Giants victory. And then the Rams and the Vikings. The Vikings, I feel like, will win over the Rams. The Vikings have proven all season that they have offensive firepower with Justin Jefferson, with Dalvin Cook, with Kirk Cousins. I think they get the job done and handedly beat the Rams, even though the Rams are a game squad. I think they're a little overmatched in a weaker NFC West than the rest of the NFC in general. The NFC West is the weakest division in that NFC, so I think the weakest team will lose out to the strongest wildcard team in Minnesota. And that brings us to Tampa Bay facing off against the Philadelphia Washington 7 seed, whoever it may be. And I think this is where the 7 seed dream dies. I think they go into Tampa and they lose to a game Tampa squad that is very tough. I think either squad, whether it's Philadelphia or Washington, if whoever makes it, I think they'll give them a game, but I think Tampa Bay ultimately wins. And then that would leave me with the Giants and the Vikings. Oh, that is... I'm going to give that one to Minnesota. I think Minnesota has the offensive firepower to beat the Giants. I don't think the Giants are equipped to go into shootout mode with teams. If they get turnovers, it's a different story. But if no turnovers happen, I don't think the Giants have the firepower on offense to get it done against Minnesota. Minnesota has weapons all over the place, and Rimster has proven to be a really good passer of the football in WFL. So I think Minnesota beats the Giants here, and then Tampa moves on, beating the 7 seed, whoever it is, whether it's Philadelphia or Washington. And that leaves me with Tampa versus Minnesota in the NFC. And I'm going to actually lean on the wild card Vikings to make it. I think Rimster has the offensive know-how and can play just enough defense to confuse the Bucs, get them off their game, and get the W in Tampa. So I think it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, or in the WFL Bowl, excuse me. And I do think that WFL Bowl 2's champion will be the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings in this particular layout, in this particular walkthrough, I think the Minnesota matches up well with Buffalo. I think it'll be an offensive game. I don't think it'll be a whole lot of defense being played. I think it'll be high scoring. I think it'll be in the 30s for both squads, but I think ultimately Minnesota comes out on top of Buffalo and wins WFL Bowl 2, and I'm going to say a final score of 35-31 will be the final there. So that is my very, very bad, horrible prediction of WFL Bowl 2. That's probably not what's going to happen. We'll see, but that's my prediction as it stands right this second. I wanted to get that out of the way. So that's our playoff run for this offseason. Again, we don't know who the 7th seed is in the NFC, so I kind of played around with that a little bit. But I do want to go ahead and make an announcement that I teased at the beginning of the podcast. It's about our off season and about the draft. Leadership and I have had a pretty extensive discussion, and we've gone back and forth. A couple of guys are on one side of the fence. A couple of guys, including myself, are on the side of the fence we decided on. And it breaks my heart to say this because I really, really love the draft. But we will be simulating our draft. It's not without any sort of thought process around. I know guys that have multiple first-round picks coming up in this draft. We took that into consideration, but the problem is that we would not be able to skip or pause the draft at any point. We couldn't even skip a CPU pick. So on average, the first round is about 2 minutes long per pick. And then in rounds, I think 3 through 6 or 3 through 5, it goes to 1:30. And then I think in rounds 5 through 7, it falls to 1:15. But even considering that, if everybody were to show up and pick quickly, it would go fast. But we have to assume long-term scenario, a draft could potentially take upwards of 3 hours. And the longer a draft takes, with the climate it is as far as glitches go, the more chance we have of making a mistake. And I just don't want to make a mistake because right now, I'll be honest, if we have to go through a restart due to a glitch, I'm going to say sayonara. I'm not going to be a part of a restart. It took everything we had and I had to get this thing going. We went through about 6 restarts for this league that we are in now. And I think if it breaks again, I think you see quite a few guys probably hit the door and say adios. And I'm being honest and transparent here. That includes me. I would help with admin stuff. I would help you guys start up if you wanted to play, whoever wanted to still play, but I would not participate if we glitch out. I'm just going to tell you right now up front, so you guys have no preconceptions about me acting like I was, on the verge of quitting. I'm going to tell you right now, if we get any sort of glitch or hang up or get hung up, if you guys want to restart, that's fine. I'm not going to be a part of it. I'll help. I'll do podcasts. I'll do content. I don't mind doing any of that. I'll help with admin. I'll still do some other stuff. I'll participate with you guys, but I'm not going to participate in as far as playing games and getting involved with that because it's too much. So we are simulating the draft. That's the bad news. The good news is, or at least what I hope the good news is we are relaxing a couple of rules that we have around trading. What we're going to do because of this is I recorded a video today about how to create and edit your favorites as far as a draft order list. I've got it on good authority from a couple of different leaders in WFL that this favorites list, if you organize it properly, can work and does work, and it has worked for them in the past. So I did a short video on how to basically A, build your favorites on your draft board, and B, organize them. I'm going to post that, if not tonight, then sometime tomorrow. I'm hoping to get it up tonight. I haven't uploaded it yet. I recorded it this afternoon. It's about 6 minutes long. It's not terribly long, but I do have to render it and get it up and running. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get it up right this second. But I'll do my best. I got some other stuff to do after the podcast, so I'll try and get it up. If I don't, it will be tomorrow at the earliest. I'll get it up. Anyway, I wanted to let you guys know we do have a video out there to help with that. We also have a video I created for our incentive plan. So we've got that going as well. If you need help with the incentive plan and figuring out how you can get points, how you keep track of points, things of that nature, all of it is in that video. And hopefully that video helps kind of ease your mind about what the heck the incentive plan is, because I honestly thought I'd done a video, which I mentioned in that video a couple of times. I thought I'd done a video on it, but apparently I had not. So and then Meek Boy on the chat says, oh yeah, I needed that as motivation. I just gave him bulletin board material. So yeah, well, kudos. I'm rooting for you, Meek Boy. I really am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have anything against anybody, but I have to predict some upsets. I mean, and considering Philadelphia is a tough out and Washington is a tough out as far as the user base goes, if you're going to trip up, that would be the place I think you would. If you get past them, I think you will be where the Vikings are in my predictions. So apparently the winner of the WFL Bowl is coming out of the North, according to me, which is I'm not an authority figure as far as that goes. My predictions are worth bupkis. But anyway, I do want to announce, because I got sidetracked with this discussion, I want to announce that we're going to be simulating the draft. We've decided that we're going to do that, but we're also going to allow you to trade rookies. That was the other part of the big announcement. We're going to allow you to trade rookies mainly because if you don't set your favorites, or if you don't know how and you don't use the video to help you out, or you don't want to take the time to do it, we still don't want you punished for a CPU that could be stupid at times. So what we're going to do is, and it's going to require a lot more admin on our part, but we're willing to put in the extra work to kind of help out because everybody's getting boned equally by this. If you pick players that you are not fond of or don't want, and you can find trade partners for those rookie players, we will basically work with the contracts to basically fiddle them out to where when you send the player, you won't take a cap hit, and then the person that acquires that player will then absorb that cap hit. So essentially what we'll do is we'll lower the bonus down to 0. You make the trade. We will then raise the bonus back to what it was pre-trade for the other team. So you basically acquire the entirety of the contract. That's a little bit different than what we normally do. Normally, we don't do any sort of edits on contracts or things of that nature. But because we're making a decision to simulate the draft, and not everybody's going to be happy with that, we want to try and facilitate some ease of movement of players without boning a team for trading a player off and acquiring a player and things of that nature. So we will be doing that. That is part of the process. So we have made that decision. We'll still have free agency as normal. Everything's going to be as normal. The only difference with our schedule whenever I go ahead and make it out for the offseason is we will be simulating the draft, and we will give you guys the opportunity to trade rookies. That is normally a rule we have in place. We normally don't allow trading of rookies because of cap problems, and also because normally most teams don't trade rookies. But this is a special exception where we kind of have to bend reality, quote unquote. So that's the decision we've made. And the reason is very simple. If we glitch out, I feel like half of leadership, myself included, won't come back. So you guys would be building a whole new leadership team, a whole new thing. And that sucks, but it is also true. So I don't want to hide anything from you guys about that. It is what it is. But at the same time, as long as we don't glitch, I'm here. But if we glitch out, I've invested too much time into this to invest it again, if you get my drift. And I think a lot of guys would probably feel in the same boat, especially from a leadership standpoint. So just letting you guys know, that's why we're doing it. Because if we, what we're hoping is we only have to do this once. We're hoping we do it for this draft alone. We're hoping that November, December, we get some kind of patch update where we don't have to restart the franchise for it, but it fixes these draft glitch issues. However, with EA, and considering the fact that this happened to us in Madden 22, so it's not exactly something brand new with the title, I don't have a whole lot of high hopes of them fixing it. So it may be something where we have to do this for every draft we have, which sucks rocks. But just giving you guys the heads up on that. It's not something we want to do. I want us to have a draft. I want to do draft shows. I love doing draft content. But Madden is broken to the point where we need to keep this thing going, keep it limping, as it were. And that's going to be the way we're going to have to do it, is just to keep it limping and keep it going this way. So that's the reason we've made that decision going forward. Yeah, I know, Ruffles. It's buffering to hell and back. I have no clue. Like, when I started the stream, it was at 5,000 kilobits per second, which was green, and then it basically dropped off into the ether as soon as I got talking. So I've cut off everything I can cut off. I don't know what else I can do with it. What it may boil down to is I may just start having to do these offline and then just post them up after the fact, because this is atrocious. Honestly, I can see it on my end on OBS side. So, and there's not a whole lot I know to do about it. I've tweaked with some settings. I've done some other work, and nothing's working. So the only thing I can do is up my internet, maybe. But that costs money, and right now I don't have a whole lot of money, so it is what it is. I did check earlier for Ask the Chief, and I didn't see anything, so I'm going to check real quick, and there's maybe an update. Yeah, boy howdy, that's a good time to check this kind of stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so we don't have any Ask the Chief questions, so we're just gonna wrap up the podcast with the announcement. So recap, did the playoffs, covered the playoffs, talked about our special announcement about the draft. We're going to be simulating the draft, allowing you to trade rookies, our reasoning for doing so. That pretty much covers the podcast as a whole. Covered all our housekeeping notes, incentive plan, Ask the Chief, all that good stuff. So that's nothing to do now but the outro, baby. Nothing to do left but the outro. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. The WFL appreciates it, and we hope you are entertained by the show, even though it's quite laggy. Let us know by throwing us a like, subscribe, or leaving any comments. Any feedback is appreciated, good or bad, including about my bad computer lag. Until next Monday, folks, the corner is closed.